Nope, that's another one. I don't know. What I was doing was turning. What was it? They were doing turning the light bulbs, but turning them opposite instead of in unison. It was one was up, one was down, and then moving the hips also, and it was like doing something really good. So I'm gonna get it from another angle just to make sure I understand. Anything that does spins both sides in an even amount is bilateral body movements, basically. This is a really good one. Very simple, easy to get into a rhythm with like any song. And it's flexible because if you're not strong in your body, you don't have to go up and down as high. You can just kind of stay central. But if you can go up and down, that adds to it. But it's simple, so you can focus on being present with it rather than focus on what you're doing. Jumping as we come up helps kind of get the good feelings flowing, and then coming back down gets you grounded. It's like the feminine energies are up here, the masculine energies are down here, and working with both of them brings balance to parts. And working left and right side brings balance to the brain. Very simple movements matched with breath can help bring regulation, because if you're just doing breathing, then you're calming your body and you're being present with your stuff, but you're not bringing a new balance of regulation. Like if you have to stop and get grounded and then keep going, it's coping. It's not like I'm regulated. And so this kind of practice is perfect for like learning to get regulated as you're doing stuff. That's like the real skill to learn. Like, it's one thing to get regulated when you have to like step away from everything and it's just like your only job. Great starting point, but it's not enough to help us be regulated in life and throughout our days. And so this kind of thing, it's a little bit simpler than yoga. And so you can have an increased capacity to focus on your breath and just be present with your body rather than trying to process information about what moves you're doing. You're doing this now, and you're supposed to feel this and this. There's a lot of stuff with yoga, and it's great. But for someone like me, it's way too much. Just focusing on my breathing in one position is hard enough. And so to have very, very basic movements that engage your body, so I can feel my heart rate engaging, like I'm still engaging my body, but it's a very, very simple practice. And it's even more powerful when you do it in front of a mirror and watch yourself. Because being present with yourself in this way adds to your ability to be present this way. And it takes time. Looking in the mirror used to be really scary for us, but once you get like through that, like it was a few months of meditation and just working through all the terrifyingness of not recognizing myself in the mirror. But once we like worked through that, we continue to work through it with daily mirror meditations. But once we got to that point, it was easier to be present with my body when I was watching my body, because there's normally a disconnect from what I'm feeling in here and what's going on out there. And so to bring those two together is like really powerful. And so I imagine like a classroom with like 10 people, and it's like a circle and you're all facing away from each other, and there's full body mirrors with like distance in between, and you're all doing these things in front of a mirror. The class would start facing inward, and the instructor is in the center, and all the students are on the outside, and you learn what you're doing and you practice it facing inward, and then you turn outward and make the journey your own and do these simple movements and stuff, and the instructor goes around and helps people individually. That's kind of what I imagine for this kind of thing being like a group setting, because as simple and silly as this may seem, it does huge things for my consciousness, like huge. And if we can create things that are going to be simpler and easier to use and easier to like bust out, like I don't have to have a yoga mat with me or something comfortable to be on the ground to do these movements. I can do them when I'm standing, when I'm walking, randomly as I get out of my car. Like I can do them anytime. And having that power to be there for myself and be there for my consciousness when it's struggling and I don't know how to reach it is really impactful. And that's kind of what I want to explore with the dissociative identity movement. See what else I got. Oh yeah, and then there would be specific body movements for each part. Protector parts, normal life self, and child parts or nurturing caregivers. It would be like 3 different types of like movements to reach those 3 different parts of the brain specifically. That's how all the coping tools I'm creating are designed. There's 3 specific ways of applying each tool for parts. Excuse me. So those ones would be better for like normal life self and or protectors, and these ones I'm going to slow it down a little, and these would be better for child parts and caregivers. And the normal life self connecting with those parts too. This one is absolutely perfect. So you start with doing circles with your 2 hands or your arms, at the same time in the opposite direction. So right hand goes left, left hand goes right. It's matching the circles with the body parts to the brain. So left hand controls the right brain, so it goes right. So you start with that, and then once you have them even, then you stagger them. So this one is a little bit out here, and then it's one in front, and then the other in front. And then once you have this, then you add the little hip twist. In whatever direction you're going. Oops, I lost it. Okay. I lost it. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. Thanks for joining me for some bilateral body movements in Healing Journey Homeschool, created by the Kristen Chronicles, aka Kristen Windsor. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Namaste, soul friends.